Thought for 7 seconds. Imagine waking up to find the global banking system quietly flipped a switch, and it could make the crypto that's in your wallet more important than ever. Now, this is not a sci-fi plot. It literally happened last week. And if you hold XRP, XLM, or HB, you need to hear this story. So, here is how it went down. Last Sunday, November 22nd, 2025, something monumental happened in finance, but you wouldn't know it if you were just looking at the headlines. Now, all around the world, banks started using a new universal language for payments, what ISO 2022 actually means for banks. Now, I'm a little bit of a finance nerd, so I actually had this date circled on my calendar. One member even asked me, said, "Nick, does this mean that our XRP is finally going to the moon on Monday?" Now, we had a good old chuckle about it. I mean, we've all heard that one before, right? But underneath the jokes, we knew that this could be a pivotal moment. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right, so why the old Swift messaging system is dead with the disclaimers out of the way, let's get into what's going on here. What exactly happened on November 22nd? Well, it's called the ISO 2022, which I know sounds a bit like a random robot name, but it's actually basically a universal format for financial messages. Now, in plain English, it's a new way that banks communicate when they send money to each other. You see, for decades, banks have been using the old Swift messaging system to make transfers happen. You know, think of like sending a short text or a telegraph, right? Saying, "Hey, Bank B, here is $1,000 for account XYZ. Thanks, Bank A." Now, that was it, right? Super limited, very little detail in there. And if something was important, it often kind of got crammed into a tiny little reference line or just simply got lost. It was the financial equivalent of using Morse code in the age of smartphones. ISO 2022 is the smartphone era of bank messaging. Instead of those short cryptic little notes, every payment instruction now comes with a at least as rich or structured data packet, if you will. It's kind of like sending a full digital form with fields for who is sending, who is receiving, why the payment is happening, invoice numbers, you name it. Computers can read it automatically, which means fewer errors, faster compliance checks, and potentially quicker payments. In short, money is about to move smarter. How ISO 2022 improves global payments. Now, why does this geeky little upgrade matter so much to us crypto holders? Well, it's because of a few double blockchain projects that have quietly been preparing for just this moment, almost like students acing a test the teacher hasn't even announced yet. Right now, these are the projects often labeled as ISO 20022 compliant cryptos. Essentially, they build their systems to speak the same language as the banks just switched to. XRP, XLM, HBAR built for this standard. Now, right at the top of the list are projects like XRP, Ripple's XLM, and Hedera's HBAR, among others like Cardano 2. Let's start with XRP because this one has been the talk of the town. Ripple, the company associated with XRP, has been planning for this for many years. Here's a fun fact. Back in 2020, Ripple actually joined the committee that was working on the ISO 2022 standard. They basically said, "Hey banks, we want to help you shape the way that you're going to talk to each other. And we've got a network that can plug right into it." Ripple built its payment XRP, and Ripple's ISO 2022 Head Start Network Ripplet to be natively compliant and compatible with ISO 20022 messaging. Now, I know what on earth does that mean, right? Well, just imagine, right? If a bank wants to send money internationally using this new system with Ripple, the bank can actually just send an ISO 20022 formatted message that zips through Ripple's own network. And if they use Ripple's on-demand liquidity ODL service, that message is not just data, it's actually moving value with XRP as the bridge currency. There's no need for banks to go, how do we convert this message into something on our system actually understands? It actually just works. The structured data, it flows. The payment settles via XRP across the borders, and the receiving bank gets an ISO 2022 message on the other side with all of the details intact. Talk about smooth. Now here is why this is so exciting. It lowers the barrier for banks to actually use XRP in real life, right? They don't. Why banks might actually use XRP now? Have to spend years building custom integrations. Ripple already did the heavy lifting to fit into this new banking pipeline. Now, to temper the excitement here, it's not like every bank just flipped a switch and started using XRP on November 22nd. No, but from a tech standpoint, XRP is like a runner who's actually been training for this race for many years. Now, the track is actually finally open. Next up, we have Stellar Lumens and its real-world payment focus, Stellar Lumens XLM. Now, Stellar is often mentioned in the same breath as XRP when it comes to banking and payments, though they have some different niches. Now, if XRP is aiming at big banks and enterprises, Stellar is going for the people and the remittances, the underbanked populations. It's like the network that helped power things like the Digital Argentina Pesos project and has a partnership with MoneyGram for global transfers. Stellar's network is fast. We're talking 3 to 5 second settlement and super cheap. Ideal for sending money across the world without any of those hefty fees. So how does Stellar tie into ISO 2022? Well, Stellar has been working on making sure that it can map ISO 2022's rich data into Stellar transactions. Basically, if a bank or a fintech is using Stellar to send money, they can do so without losing all those juicy details that the new standard provides. Stellar's team and the Stellar Development Foundation has been very proactive in a good way about aligning with global standards so that regulators and institutions feel comfortable with it. XLM's fit for low-cost Atari remittances. It's like Stellar was fluently bilingual here, speaking crypto on one side and Banks P Speakak on the other, even before this new standard went live. Now that ISO 20022 is the law of the land in banking, Stellar is ready to step in for things like low-cost remittances, charity distributions, or even central bank digital currency pilots. It's not just about the tech here. Stellar's mission of financial inclusion means that it's targeting those use cases that benefit from richer payment data. Think better transparency on where aid money actually goes or attaching compliance information to micropayments. Then we have Hedera H, our enterprise-grade Ledger meets ISO 2022, hashgraph HAR. Now, Hedera is a bit of a different beast from the other two where Ripple and Stellar are very payments-focused. Hedera is like a general-purpose, enterprise-grade distributed ledger. It's governed by a council of rather big-name organizations. Think Google, IBM, Boeing, and many more, which immediately gives it such a huge amount of clout with traditional businesses. Now, HBAR isn't a commonly mentioned, or at least isn't as commonly mentioned in the ISO 20022 chatter on crypto Twitter, but it absolutely deserves to be in this conversation. Hedera was built with compliance and high throughput in mind. They've been making moves in the financial space like helping launch stablecoins and payment systems. So, Hedera's potential in regulated environments, how does her fit into this new banking language then? Well, Hedera's network can handle massive transaction volumes with final in around seconds, and it's capable of carrying the kind of detailed transaction information that ISO 2022 requires. Think about things like supply chain payments, regulated environments, or even central bank digital currencies, those nasty little CBDCs. Hedera has been positioning itself as the platform for that kind of action. Now, if a bank or government body is looking for a distributed ledger that feels enterprise-friendly and standard-compliant, Hedera checks a lot of those boxes. And now that banks have upgraded their messaging standards, well, integrating something like Hedera into their workflows for, let's say, interbank transfers or bond settlements becomes more plug-and-play than ever before. And you know what? Other compliant chains, ALGO, IOTA, XDC, it's not even just these ones either. Algorand. Algo has also been big on things like digital securities and even helping some countries with digital currency trials. It's also compatible with these new standards. IOTA, which is a huge in the Internet of Things world, and even XDC network, which targets trade finance, are also aligned with the ISO 2022 messaging. There's a whole crop of cryptos that quietly baking compliance and interoperability into their DNA, right? But of course, I'm focusing here on XRP, XLM, and HBA because, well, they're the ones that I personally like to keep an eye on, and many of you guys are watching them closely too. Now, did prices move after ISO 2022 went live? Let's go ahead and address the elephant that's in the room here. Did anything actually happen on November 22nd for these cryptos? Well, if you were watching the prices, you might have been a little bit underwhelmed. XRP didn't suddenly shoot to the moon, did it? XLM didn't 10 times overnight, and HR didn't break out of its range. In fact, one headline that I saw summed it up quite perfectly. Absolutely nothing happened to XRP as ISO 2022 officially goes live. Pretty ouch, right? Well, it's true in terms of immediate market reaction, right? And I do get it. After all the hype over the years, seeing no instant fireworks can feel a bit of a letdown. But here is the thing. Why foundational changes aren't flashy? Foundations, they aren't so flashy, right? When a city lays down new plumbing, you don't celebrate it in the streets, do you? It's what actually is what that plumbing can bring much later down the line. Think about running water to a new neighborhood. Now, that is quite exciting. ISO 200022 going live is kind of like the financial world laying down some brand new pipes. And our favorite crypto projects made sure that they fit into those pipes perfectly. So, no, we didn't all wake up rich on Monday, but the groundwork for something huge was cemented in place. Banks worldwide are now speaking crypto's language, even if they don't realize it just yet. The real impact of this switch will unfold over the months and over years. We might start seeing more pilot programs where banks use XRP for liquidity, or governments choose networks like Stellar or Hedera for certain projects because integration is easier than ever before. It might start quietly, a test here, a trial over there, and then who knows, maybe full production. Use in Unity nodes, my crypto-hourd telecom test the future. Now, as a long-term holder of some of these assets, this is what we've all been waiting for. Not an overnight spike, though. Hey, I wouldn't have complained, but tangible progress, real-world adoption, if you will. Well, I've been in XRP and XLM for many years. Hard too, and riding all of these roller coasters and rumors and delays, right? And let me tell you this, seeing the banking world finally catch up to an idea that crypto had decades ago, well, that we can actually move money better, it's quite vindicating. It's kind of like holding on to the puzzle piece for many years, and finally, the rest of the puzzle is being put together around it. Now, while we are talking about long-term and actually using crypto in the real world, I do want to share something else that's kind of been on my radar. Kind of a little bit of a different angle to the crypto adoption side, but it's pretty important. Something that is called Unity nodes, and it's a part of a project by World Mobile and Minutes Network. Now, I've mentioned Unity in many videos before, so some of you guys will probably already be familiar. Think of Unity nodes like this. It's a way to use everyday devices like mobile devices like phones and tablets to support a decentralized network. And for doing so, you earn crypto as a reward. It's pretty cool, right? I'll frame this as a little personal experiment. I recently purchased a Unity node license, essentially a software license, that came with the ability to connect up to 200 devices. Now, what this means is that I can link, let's say, 200 smartphones or tablets or other forms of hardware into the Unity network. Now, in these devices, they will do work on the network. Now, I'm going to simplify it here, but basically, they help provide some, auditing to the telecom's grid. Is the cell signal good? Have you got an outage anywhere? And it will cause all of that issues or all of those issues to the world mobile. And in exchange for doing that work, you actually earn rewards. Now, I'm not going to go crazy all at once here. I'm going to start off with a small test of 10 phones to see how it all runs in practice. And if it goes well, I will gradually scale this up to 200 devices that I can add to my node. And here's the fun part. I can choose to get paid in various different cryptocurrencies, not some new token that no one's ever heard of. And I've decided to receive my Unity rewards in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano's ADA, and XRP. Why those? Because, well, those are some of my long-term holds, and I wouldn't be surprised if others get added down the line, such as XLM and others. Most recently, Unity has partnered up with Polkadot to offer DOTI tokens and HBAR to offer SHIB tokens as reward options too. Now, I like the idea of passively stacking more Bitcoin, ETH, ADA, and XRP over time, and that is rather appealing to me. It's kind of like earning interest, but in crypto by helping run this particular network. Now, I do want to be super clear here. I'm not saying that everyone should just go out there and buy a Unity node license. No, this is new. It's an experimental technology. And like everything that's in crypto, there is going to be a risk. Now, I'm treating this as an experiment, a way to support in the innovative space. Do your own research if it does pique your own interest. I'm going to put some link in the description down below to Unity's light paper and their rewards calculator so that you can read up for yourselves and crunch all of the numbers. It's a pretty fascinating concept, though. Basically, decentralizing mobile networks and basically using your smartphones to help verify whether there are any issues within the telecom's grid, and then you can earn crypto rewards for doing it for participating. It's pretty cool. Now, as someone who's always hunting for the next way to earn crypto passively beyond just trading or staking, this actually caught my attention. Because if it becomes a steady little side earner, then I'm going to be pretty thrilled. And of course, I'm going to keep you all posted on how it goes. Now, while we're cheeky school, learn crypto, avoid getting wrecked on the topic of preparation. Here's another kind of preparation that I'm big on, and that's education. Now, the crypto space, it moves insanely fast, doesn't it? Right? The only way to keep up and not get wrecked is to keep on learning. That's actually why we created the Cheeky Crypto School over at cheekyschool.com. It's our online crypto education platform where we've got courses on trading, portfolio management, risk management, basically all the stuff that we wish that we knew when we first started in crypto. Now, whether you're trying to sharpen your technical analysis skills or learn how to balance a long-term portfolio so you can at least sleep at night when the market gets a bit volatile, then we've got you covered in all of these courses. And since you've listened to me ramble on this long, I'm going to hook you up with a discount code, right? I'm going to put it in the description down below, and you can get 50% off at checkout on any of our courses. There's a link in the description to the school, and we've got people from absolute beginners to confident investors that are taking these courses, which is just awesome to see. Now, I'm not going to say that you need to take a course to succeed, because we've got plenty of free information in our Discord server too. Now, if you want a structured way to level up your crypto knowledge, then there are courses for you. And of course, our free Discord, which I've mentioned many times already, is open for anyone to join. If you want to just chat with others or learn from a community setting, we've got great groups in there. And it's totally free to join and ask questions or share insights. All right, let's get back full circle here before we wrap up this video. ISO 20.22 going live. It marks the end of an era and the start of a new one. The old SWIFT system that couldn't even tell you who the sender or receiver was properly, that's now gone. Right? We're now in an age of rich data for payments, and the fact that our crypto networks are positioned to take advantage of that is pretty huge. Maybe the big takeaway for long-term holders It won't reflecting the price tomorrow or next week, but it strengthens the fundamental case for coins like XRP, XLM, Algorand, XDC, Cardano's ADA absolutely enormously. Kind of like watching a bridge being built between two different islands. One island is the traditional banking world, and the other is the crypto world. Now, for the longest time, that bridge was incomplete or rickety or maybe only half built from either side. Now, on November 22nd, they connected the banking side of the bridge right where crypto's been waiting. Now, we just have to see traffic start to flow over it. And I'm confident that it will, because the benefits are just too clear to ignore. Faster settlements, lower cost, global reach, 24/7 availability, all the things that we love in crypto. Finally, appealing to the suits in the banks as well. If you've held XRP, XLM, or HBAR for the long term, give yourself a small pat on the back here for the conviction. It's been a tough wait at times with all the crazy speculation and setbacks. I haven't forgotten the SEC saga for XRP. I mean, yikes, right? But moments like this, they show why we believe in these projects. They had a vision to change the plumbing of finance. And guess what? The plumbing is changing in their favor. I'm genuinely excited about what's going to come next here. Will every bank suddenly start using XRP? Probably not. And definitely not all at once, right? But will some of them start dipping their toes in and maybe start diving in once they actually start seeing positive results? I believe so. And the same goes for Stella's use cases and Hedera's enterprise plays too. The wheels are now in motion. So that's the big story this week. A quiet switch with loud implications. Until next time, though,